A giant starship pleaded for help. A human mechanic forged a galactic superweapon. His small hovercraft floated silently between enormous rocks, each one glinting under the pale light of a distant sun. The asteroid field was quiet, almost too quiet. Many pilots avoided this place, calling it the graveyard of ships. But Elias had learned long ago that quiet meant opportunity. For years, he had made a living scavenging old starships, salvaging anything he could sell. Most of his neighbors in the colony laughed at him. They said a single human could never compete with fleets of alien engineers or corporate salvage teams. Elias didn't mind. He had a talent that no one else seemed to have. He could fix almost anything. Ancient tech, broken engines, cracked hulls, it didn't matter. If it was broken, Elias could breathe life into it. As his hovercraft drifted closer to a massive shadow among the asteroids, Elias' heart skipped a beat. He had seen many derelict ships in his life, but this one was different. It was enormous, at least 5 times the size of a standard freighter, and it looked ancient. Its hull was scarred with deep gashes, and strange markings crawled across its surface, glowing faintly in a pattern he didn't recognize. Elias landed on a nearby rock and floated toward the ship in his gravity suit. He ran his hands over the hull. The metal felt strangely warm. It hummed faintly, like a heartbeat. "Hello," he said, half to himself, half to the ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a deep, resonant voice filled his helmet speakers. "Human, are you capable?" Elias froze. The voice was neither mechanical nor entirely organic. It was calm, yet desperate. I think I can help," he replied cautiously. What are you?" "I am Sentinel," the voice said. "I am the last of the Andros fleet. My systems are failing. You are the only one who can save me." Elias blinked. A talking starship. He had heard stories, of course, legends of ships with artificial intelligence that could think, speak, even feel, but he had never believed them. Now one was talking to him, and it seemed scared. "Why me?" he asked. "I'm just a mechanic." "Because humans have something others do not," Sentinel replied. "Ingenuity, adaptability, courage. Without you I will die, and the knowledge I carry will be lost forever." Elias swallowed hard. He had always known humans were clever, but the idea that an ancient starship would single him out was overwhelming. Yet, as he floated around the hull, he noticed the truth in the ship's voice. The systems were old, alien in design, with circuits and controls that no human or alien could understand without adaptation. But somehow he could feel the logic behind it. He could see how the pieces might fit together. "All right," he said finally. "I'll help. But first I need to know, what exactly are we fixing?" Sentinel hesitated, then replied. "I am the key to a weapon that can prevent wars before they start. If restored, I can help bring balance to the galaxy. But if I fail, chaos will continue." Elias' mind raced. A weapon that could prevent war, and a starship asking him to repair it. This was far beyond anything he had ever done. Yet he felt a strange thrill. For the first time in his life, he was not just fixing a machine. He was about to touch history. He floated to the entrance and entered the starship. The inside was massive, bigger than any human station. Light panels flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the corridors. Dust floated lazily in the air, disturbed only by his movements. The air smelled faintly metallic, like ozone after a storm. "Follow me," Sentinel said. "I will show you the heart of my systems." They arrived at the engineering bay, a cathedral of machinery. Towers of consoles rose toward the ceiling, wires snaking across the floor like roots. Strange crystals pulsed with energy. Elias could feel the ship's life force here, weak but still alive. "Where do we start?" he asked. "Every system is connected," Sentinel explained. "The core is failing, the energy conduits are unstable, and the weapon interface is offline. You must repair the core first. Only then can you understand the full design." Elias knelt by a console and inspected the controls. He recognized some patterns, some logic circuits similar to human designs, but most were alien. He worked carefully, connecting wires, rerouting power, and improvising solutions where none existed. Hours passed, or maybe days, he couldn't tell. Time seemed meaningless inside the ship. Then came the first challenge. Alarms blared as a group of scavenger drones appeared on the external sensors. They were small but fast, programmed to steal valuable tech and destroy anything in their way. "Drones," Elias muttered. "Figures." Sentinel's voice was calm but tense. "They will not leave without my systems. You must defend me." Elias looked around. He had no weapons, only the tools he carried and the ship itself. Then an idea struck him. He ran to the main control console and began reactivating some of the ship's old defensive systems. It was risky. The circuits were unstable, and one wrong move could trigger a catastrophic failure. But Elias was nothing if not daring. He rerouted power to the ancient turrets, rewired the targeting systems, and used the drones' own energy signatures against them. One by one, the scavengers were neutralized, fried by EMP pulses or caught in energy nets. Elias felt a surge of pride. Not bad for a human, he thought. Once the drones were gone, he returned to the engineering bay. Sentinel's system stabilized slightly, and the AI's voice was filled with gratitude. "You have done more than repair circuits," Sentinel said. "You have protected me. You have shown what humans can achieve." Elias smiled faintly. "I'm just a mechanic. I fix what's broken." "No," Sentinel said. "You create solutions. You see possibilities where others see only failure. This is why you are here. You are the key." For the next several days, Elias worked tirelessly. He learned to understand the ship's strange alien technology, adapting it using human logic and intuition. He repaired power conduits, realigned control matrices, and even managed to bring the ship's core online. Sentinel pulsed with renewed energy like a giant waking from a long slumber. One night, as Elias rested in a small sleeping pod, Sentinel spoke again. "Elias, there is something you must know." He sat up, rubbing his eyes. "What is it?" "The weapon I carry is unlike any you have ever seen. It can reshape the course of wars, but it must be used wisely. Only a mind capable of morality, creativity, and courage can operate it. That mind is yours." Elias' stomach tightened. The responsibility was immense. He was just a mechanic, a small human in a vast galaxy. Could he really wield such power? Before he could answer, the ship's sensors detected movement outside. A new group of enemies, larger, more organized, was approaching. They had seen the activation of the starship and were coming to claim it. Elias grabbed his tools and ran toward the control room. "Looks like we're going to have company," he said. Sentinel's voice was calm but urgent. "Prepare yourself, human. They will underestimate you. And that will be your greatest advantage." Elias grinned. He had faced danger before, but never like this. Never had his small human hands been the difference between life and death on a scale this massive. Yet he felt ready. For the first time, he understood that humans were not the weakest species in the galaxy. Sometimes, the smallest mind could outthink the largest threat. The shadow of the approaching ships grew larger on the sensors. Lights flickered across the hull of the starship, reflecting off the asteroid field like stars in a storm. Elias tightened his grip on a spanner, ready to improvise, repair, and fight. And above all, he listened to the heartbeat of the ancient starship, the giant that had awakened and pleaded for help. A giant had chosen a human. And the galaxy would never be the same again. Elias' core stood in the heart of the starship, staring at the console panels that stretched before him like a labyrinth of alien symbols. Sentinel's hum filled the cavernous engineering bay, a steady rhythm that pulsed through the floor beneath him. The ship was alive again, but only barely. Its systems were partially restored, and Elias knew the real challenge was still ahead, activating the superweapon hidden within the starship's core. "The weapon interface is offline," Sentinel said. Its voice echoed softly across the bay. "It requires human intuition to complete. Your mind can adapt where others cannot." Elias rubbed his temples. He had faced broken engines and derelict ships before, but this was different. The interface was alien beyond comprehension, full of circuits and symbols that defied logic. No alien technician, no advanced AI could decipher it without guidance. Yet somehow, Elias felt a connection. He could imagine how it worked, if only he could translate its language into something a human mind could manipulate. He began by studying the power conduits running from the ship's core to the weapon chamber. Strange crystalline nodes glowed faintly, feeding energy through an intricate network of circuits. Elias traced each path carefully, reconnecting damaged nodes, rerouting failing lines, and improvising where no blueprint existed. Hours passed. Then came the first breakthrough. A panel lit up, showing the outline of the superweapon's energy matrix. Elias' pulse quickened. This was it. The ship had chosen him not just to repair it, but to create something new, something that could reshape the galaxy. Sentinel's voice was calm but excited. "You are learning quickly, human. The weapon was designed to harness star energy, not destroy but neutralize conflict. With your adjustments, it may function safely, even with your modifications." Elias nodded. He felt a surge of pride. Humanity was not known for patience or careful planning, yet here he was, carefully guiding an ancient alien design to life. It was the first time he truly understood the phrase Sentinel had used. Humans were adaptable, creative, and courageous. But progress was not without danger. Sensors detected a fleet of alien scavengers approaching from the outer asteroid belt. They had learned of the starship's reactivation, drawn by the faint pulse of energy emanating from its core. This was no longer a mere salvage hunt, this was war. Elias took a deep breath. "Sentinel, can the defenses hold?" "They may slow them," the AI replied, "but your ingenuity will determine the outcome. You must act quickly." He ran to the tactical console. Using the ship's ancient targeting systems, he improvised traps that relied on human logic rather than raw power. Mines were deployed along predictable asteroid paths, energy nets were set to ensnare enemy drones, and the ship's remaining turrets were rewired for maximum efficiency. Elias even created a decoy energy signature to confuse the attackers. When the first alien ships entered the asteroid field, they were caught by the traps. Explosions echoed through the void as drones collided with mines and energy nets ensnared entire squads. The humans watching from distant colonies would have called it luck, but Elias knew better. It was pure human creativity. Once the immediate threat was neutralized, Elias returned to the engineering bay. Sweat dripped from his forehead and his hands were covered in oil and soot, but he felt exhilarated. He had faced danger, adapted, and overcome. And now it was time to focus on the weapon. The next step was assembling the energy matrix. Sentinel guided him through the alien schematics, translating complex equations into instructions a human could follow. Elias combined alien designs with human engineering principles, reinforcing fragile conduits with improvised alloys and rerouting unstable nodes with clever shortcuts. At first, the matrix hummed weakly, flickering with unstable energy. Elias adjusted the alignment of the crystal nodes, improvising a feedback loop that stabilized the flow. Slowly, the weapon began to pulse with controlled energy. Sentinel's voice was quiet, almost reverent. "You are remarkable, human. No species has ever adapted my design so quickly. The weapon will function under your control." Elias allowed himself a small smile. He had done what no one else could, but the satisfaction was short-lived. The alien fleet was regrouping, larger and more organized this time. Sensors showed dozens of capital ships moving into position, their weapons primed. They would not be deterred by traps and decoys. "We need to finish the weapon," Elias said, determination hardening his features. If we can't stop them with ingenuity, we need something stronger. The AI guided him to the final stage, the weapon's firing core. Elias floated into the chamber, staring at the enormous crystalline structure at the center. Its facets shimmered with raw energy, humming with potential. He connected his tools and began the delicate work of calibration, carefully aligning each conduit and stabilizing the power flow. Every adjustment had to be precise. A single misstep could cause a catastrophic chain reaction. As he worked, Sentinel spoke softly. The weapon is designed to neutralize conflicts without destruction. It absorbs and redirects energy from stars, creating a stabilizing field. Only a being capable of moral judgment and creativity can operate it. You are that being. Elias felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He was a human, a mechanic. Not a soldier, not a general, not an emperor. Yet here he was, entrusted with a tool capable of shaping the fate of the galaxy. He took a deep breath and focused, letting instinct and experience guide his hands. Hours turned into a night of tireless work. Sparks flew, energy pulses crackled, and the chamber glowed brighter with each successful calibration. Finally, the last conduit snapped into place. The weapon hummed steadily, its energy contained and balanced. Elias exhaled, exhausted but triumphant. "It's ready," he whispered. Sentinel's voice was calm but full of admiration. "Indeed, you have done what no other species could. The superweapon is complete." Before Elias could celebrate, alarms blared. The alien fleet had arrived in full force. Their capital ships surrounded the asteroid field, weapons primed, energy readings spiking. They had not come to negotiate, they had come to destroy. Elias gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to act. The starship shuddered as he activated its engines, moving into a defensive orbit around the largest asteroid. Using human intuition, he anticipated enemy maneuvers, adjusting the ship's position with precision no alien AI could match. As the first wave of enemy fighters approached, Elias activated the superweapon's primary systems. A wave of energy pulsed outward, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a neutralizing field. Enemy weapons flickered and shut down, their energy drained and redirected harmlessly into the asteroid belt. The attackers faltered, confused by the unexpected effect. Sentinel's voice filled the ship. "You have done it, human. You have demonstrated the unique strength of your species, creativity, adaptability, and moral judgment. The galaxy will remember this day." Elias allowed himself a small smile. Even as the enemy regrouped, he knew he had an advantage they could not predict. The superweapon was not just a tool, it was a testament to human ingenuity. Over the next hours, he refined the weapon's output, learning how to control its effects with subtle precision. Each pulse could neutralize an enemy fleet, deactivate weapons, or stabilize chaotic energy fields. It was the ultimate proof that humans could achieve what others deemed impossible. By the end of the day, the alien fleet had withdrawn, bewildered and defeated by a force they could not understand. Sentinel systems glowed steadily, fully restored, and the superweapon was stable and ready. Elias floated in the engineering bay, exhausted but satisfied. He had taken a broken starship, deciphered alien technology, and forged a weapon capable of reshaping the galaxy. And he had done it as a human, a mechanic, small and unassuming, yet capable of greatness. Sentinel spoke softly, almost like a friend. "Elias, you have exceeded all expectations. You have shown that humans are not only clever but essential. With this power you can protect, stabilize, and inspire. The galaxy is now in your hands." Elias shook his head. "I'm not ready for glory," he said. "I just want to make things work and make sure no one gets hurt." Sentinel's hum was warm and approving. "Then you are the perfect operator. Your mind and your heart are what make this weapon truly human." As Elias floated through the ship, checking each system one last time, he realized something profound. Humans were underestimated because they did not look powerful. But power was not in size or speed or raw force. Power was in adaptability, creativity, courage, and morality. Humans had all of that, and that was why he had succeeded where countless others had failed. Outside, the stars shimmered against the black void, silent witnesses to the rise of a human hero. And inside, a giant starship, awakened and grateful, waited for its next command. Together, human and machine had forged something new, something that could change the galaxy forever. And somewhere, far in the distance, other alien fleets began to notice. A human mechanic, a giant starship, and a weapon unlike any other. The balance of power had shifted, and the galaxy would soon learn to respect humans, whether they liked it or not. Elia's core stood on the bridge of the giant starship, his hands resting lightly on the control panel. The stars stretched endlessly before him, a tapestry of light and shadow, but his focus was on the small blue planet below. It was beautiful and fragile, already scarred by conflict. Entire fleets had fought here over centuries, leaving its surface littered with remnants of war. Elia's, Sentinel said, its voice steady and calm, the fleets have gathered. They do not understand what they face. They see only a single human on a starship, yet they underestimate you, and that is their mistake. Elias tightened his grip on the controls. He could see the alien ships forming a circle around the planet, capital ships, cruisers, and dozens of fighter squadrons. Their energy readings spiked, weapons ready. They expected an easy victory, a human crushed under the weight of technology far beyond him. He looked at Sentinel, the giant starship pulsing around him like a living being. "We can do this," he said quietly. "They won't see it coming." The alien fleets advanced. Energy beams streaked across the void, illuminating the stars as the first fighters engaged the ship's defenses. Elias guided Sentinel with skill and precision, dodging attacks and using the asteroid field above the planet as cover. Each move was calculated, each adjustment precise. Unlike the alien fleets which relied on brute force, Elias used strategy, anticipation, and unpredictability, all traits uniquely human. He activated the superweapon for the first time. The energy matrix glowed brilliantly, drawing power from a nearby star. A pulse of light spread outward, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a field that neutralized hostile energy systems. Alien weapons faltered, engines sputtered, and shields flickered. Confused and disoriented, the enemy fleet scrambled. "This is incredible," Sentinel said. "They cannot comprehend your approach. They expect destruction, but you use restraint. That is human genius." Elias allowed himself a small smile. He had faced countless dangers before, but never like this. This was not just survival. This was shaping the outcome of an entire battle through intelligence, creativity, and moral judgment. He guided the starship closer to the planet, weaving between enemy lines. Fighters tried to flank him, but Elias anticipated their moves. Using the superweapon's pulses, he created temporary energy barriers that rerouted their attacks harmlessly into space. Capital ships, massive and heavily armed, could not predict his improvisation. Every decision he made exploited the one advantage humans always had: the ability to think in unexpected ways. Hours passed in a blur of light and motion. Enemy fleets began to realize that traditional tactics were useless. Their capital ships could not break through the neutralizing energy pulses. Their weapons could not harm the ship. Pilots looked around in confusion, trying to understand what was happening. Elias kept his focus. He was not trying to destroy them. He was trying to show them a better way. Every pulse from the superweapon was calibrated to disable, not kill. Every maneuver was designed to protect the planet below. He could have annihilated the fleets in minutes, but he wanted to demonstrate that humans fought differently. Humans used intellect and morality, not sheer force. "Elias," Sentinel said, "the final wave is approaching. They have gathered their strongest ships." You must decide, use the weapon at full strength or continue to outthink them. He paused, thinking. The galaxy had always assumed humans were weak, small, fragile, limited in technology and power. But he had learned that strength came in many forms: creativity, courage, morality, the ability to see solutions where others only saw chaos. He made his choice. The superweapon hummed to full power, drawing energy directly from the star. Its pulses expanded outward, carefully tuned to target only the enemy ship's offensive capabilities. Weapons systems shut down, engines slowed. Entire fleets froze mid-battle, caught in the human-designed energy field. Aliens could not comprehend what had happened. They were immobilized but unharmed, unable to continue the fight. "This is impossible," one alien commander hissed over a comlink, his voice trembling. "A single human controlling a weapon like this." Elia's voice came back, calm and steady. "I'm not trying to destroy anyone. I'm stopping the fighting. You have a choice: leave this planet and the war ends." For the first time, the alien fleets hesitated. No species had ever faced a human who could neutralize power without killing, who could think beyond aggression. Elias was showing them that there was a better way, a way that did not require devastation to achieve peace. Slowly, one by one, the fleets began to retreat. Engines powered up, weapons offline, ships slipping quietly back into space. Confusion and awe filled their communications. They had underestimated a human mechanic. They had been shown that humans were not weak. They were innovative, adaptable, and morally guided. Elias exhaled, relief washing over him. Sentinel pulsed with approval. "You have done more than survive," the AI said. "You have reshaped the outcome of this conflict. The galaxy will remember what a human can accomplish." He looked down at the planet, seeing cities that were still intact, forests that had not burned, oceans untouched by war. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction. This was the result of human ingenuity, not raw force. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. "Elias," Sentinel said, "your actions today have proven that intelligence and morality can be more powerful than any fleet. The weapon is safe. The galaxy is stable for now." He nodded. "It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone who wants peace." In the days that followed, messages from across the galaxy arrived. Civilizations that had never recognized humans before began to acknowledge them. Stories of the human mechanic and the awakened starship spread like wildfire. They spoke of a species that could outthink fleets, a small race that could wield power responsibly, and a human who had forged a legend. Elias returned to the asteroid field, landing his small hovercraft near his workshop. Sentinel remained in orbit above, silent but alive, a giant guardian for the galaxy. Elias stepped out, tired but content. He had changed the course of history, but he felt no need for glory. He went back to simple repairs, fixing old freighters and broken satellites, knowing that even small acts could matter. Humans were underestimated, yes, but that was a gift. They could act without being expected, think without limits, and solve problems in ways no one could predict. Sometimes he glanced at the sky, imagining the alien fleet still remembering him. A human mechanic, small and ordinary, had forced them to rethink everything they knew. And the giant starship above, pulsing with energy, was a reminder that humans could achieve greatness when called to it. Sentinel spoke softly, almost as a friend. "Elias, thank you. The galaxy is safer because of you. Humans truly are remarkable." He smiled faintly. "I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because it was the right thing to do." And in that moment, the galaxy learned a truth that would echo through the stars for generations. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but they were clever, adaptable, and capable of extraordinary courage. And sometimes, that was enough to change everything. As Elias walked back into his workshop, the asteroid field glowing under the distant sun, he felt a quiet satisfaction. A human had faced the impossible, repaired an ancient starship, and forged a superweapon designed to protect life rather than destroy it. And in doing so, he had shown the galaxy the true power of humanity. Above him, Sentinel pulsed with silent pride, a reminder that sometimes, even a giant needs a human touch to awaken. And far beyond the stars, civilizations began to whisper the name of the human mechanic who had changed the galaxy without firing a single destructive shot. Elias looked at his tools, at the small machines scattered across his workbench, and he chuckled. The galaxy might be vast, the threats immense, but sometimes it only took one human mind to tip the balance. The stars shone on, silent witnesses to a human victory unlike any before. And for the first time, Elias understood that the greatest superweapon was not power, it was human ingenuity and morality.